stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this two-day public hearing organized by the House Committee on Defense on a number of important legislative proposals aimed at strengthening Nigeria's defense architecture, enhancing military professionalism, improving the welfare of personnel and veterans, and positioning our armed forces to effectively address the evolving security challenges of our time. On behalf of the Committee on Defense and the House of Representatives, I hereby sincerely thank you for honoring our invitation and for demonstrating your commitment to security, stability, progress of our great nation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's gathering is more than a legislative formality. It is a vital democratic exercise. Public hearings are among the most important stages of the lawmaking process because they provide an opportunity for citizens, experts, institutions, and stakeholders to participate directly in shaping legislation. Through this process, proposed laws benefit from broader scrutiny, practical insight, and diverse perspectives, ensuring that the final outcomes are more effective, inclusive, and responsive to national realities. For us as legislators, stakeholder engagement strengthens transparency, accountability, and public confidence in the legislative process. It also reinforces the principle that the best laws are those that reflect the collective wisdom and aspirations of the people they are intended to serve. The bills before us today address several critical aspects of national defense, including military education and professional development, joint operations effectiveness, medical training and healthcare support, strategic research and doctrine development, veterans welfare, military governance reforms, food security initiatives, and greater inclusiveness within the armed forces. Collectively, these proposals represent an important effort to build a stronger, more professional, innovative, and future-ready institution. I therefore encourage all stakeholders present to participate actively and constructively in this deliberation. Whether through oral presentation or written memoranda, your contributions will help ensure that these bills are strengthened and refine the national interest. I assure you that every solution received will be carefully considered by the committee. Permit me to also acknowledge the immense sacrifices of the men and women of the armed forces of Nigeria who continue to serve our nation with courage, professionalism, and dedication, often under extreme difficult conditions. This service underscores the importance of ensuring that our laws provide the institutional support necessary for them to carry out their constitutional responsibilities effectively. As we commence this public hearing, let us be guided by transparency, objectivity, and a shared commitment to the security and prosperity of Nigeria. Let us engage openly, listen respectfully, and work collectively towards legislative outcomes that will strengthen our defense sector and contribute to national development. Once again, I want to welcome you all and thank you for your presence and invaluable consideration. May your deliberations be fruitful and may God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
My colleagues in hand, those who are still fighting, and those who are already retired from fighting, I was in the front before, so I know exactly what you do. I want to say we are grateful for your labor, we are grateful for your sacrifices, and may God continue to bless the Nigerian Armed Forces. Today I'm going to just be brief. I know I've discussed this over a period of time with some of my colleagues, those in uniform and those outside the uniform. And we are kind of agreeing on one thing, that the Armed Forces Act we have today, as it is today, does not really promote what we want to achieve. We are looking beyond jointness now. We are looking at synergy. We are looking at where we have a seamless operation together, both in the services, Army, Air Force, and Navy. So what we are looking at this now is that a bill in such a manner that we have a unified command. We have a single chain of command. That is from CEC to the Minister of Defense, and from the Minister to the CDS, then the CDS to the combatant commanders, who are those to operate on the field. Then we have the services, who will be their duties to administer, train, equip the forces. And by the one this is done, the chief of defense staff will be the one to operationalize the forces. These are the systems we are looking at, and I know a lot of people are there with their memo and with their papers. So we're going to collect them and look at it critically and come up with what the armed forces are to do. Another thing we are looking at is that we are looking at amending some of the principal acts, especially when you talk about cyber defense system and you talk about intelligence system. We want them to be unique in such a way that they can support the operations of the combatant commanders. Not the way it is today, that you have them only supporting the services. We want them to be able to support the combatant commanders. And we know in Nigeria we have regions, and our regions have different coloration, different dimension, different ethnicity, different groups. So we want in the situation where we have commands that will be able to study the situation on ground and will be able to report back to the CDS. And based on that, our forces will be unique in such a manner that we are built to type. We are built because forces that will take care of the situation in the south to south might not probably be able to take care of the situation in the northeast. I can tell you this: we have blue navy. Meanwhile, we have in amphibians in the army. So we want to see a situation where not only when we are going to fight, that will be joint. Even when it's in peacetime, we will work together. We have seen this happening in other countries, especially in the United States, in Pakistan. For those who have been out there, you work together in peacetime. So it's seamless for you to fight together. And this is what this bill is trying to achieve. I won't want to waste your time. We will just take your memorandum, we'll take contributions, and we'll see how we're going to build it out. The bill is being passed. Look at it. If there are amendments you want us to do, let us go ahead and do it. So, Chairman, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity. No. For all these kind of things, nobody is taking care of them. I can give you a typical example of what happened here in Abuja to me. I have a retired soldier from my village. I think he has some dementia. He took himself away from the village and came to Abuja and looking for a salary. Somebody who asked me, where are you from? He says from, he said, and it's okay, we have a rep member who is from that place. So they called me, I have to go look for him in Cuba to take him back home. And that is happening to most of us. So what the bill is trying to cure is not that, it's not going to repair the bill on Legion. No, it is just for the military and police, a veteran, those who have retired. This bill is to establish a system where our welfare can be taken care of by the government. And it's not going to be on our own. The government will be participatory in it. So we are looking at whether if we're going to be established, that the chairman of the DG will be appointed by the government, who will relate, and then from there, the military will take over. And we have some bill that is coming up today that we already discussed. I met some of my military senior ones that with me this morning, and we discussed this extensively. That we are looking at is that if some of those bills has to come in, like farm, armed forces farm, if we want to take care of education, we can only use those who are retired, because those who are serving, we are not even enough to take care of the problem that we have in this country, not to talk of diverting them to go to farm. So we are looking at this bill in pari passu, that is the bill of BFN can take care of the farm and can take care of our education system. And then we can also use that opportunity to take care of our veterans. So they are still gainfully employed and be useful to the government. And this is what this bill is trying to cure. And we are asking you to please bring your observations, bring your objections, and bring your memorandum up. We will consider them, and this bill will serve us. Thank you very much, sir. Chairman, I say once again, thank you, sir.
Security and Defense Consultant. I've had the privilege of looking at the bill that has been submitted by Honorable Rufus Oswald, and I have my personal assessment which I would like to share in this affair in the House. In general, I will support the broad direction of the bill because it attempts to address a genuine problem that has existed within the armed forces of Nigeria for decades. Service-centric operations, inter-service rivalry, duplication of capabilities, weak joint planning, fragmented intelligence, and inefficient coordination during operations. These are exactly the type of problem that the United States military attempted to solve through their 1986 World War and Impulsive War. However,
While the diagnosis of the bill is broadly correct, the legislative drafting and institutional design, in my humble opinion, remains incomplete. There are areas that the bill got right from my own reading. Recognition of joint warfare reality. Modern wars are not won by individual services acting independently. Counterinsurgency, counterterrorism, maritime security, strategic strike, and so on, all require integration of land force, air force, and maritime, intelligence assets, space and cyber capabilities, and also special operations. So this bill correctly recognizes that reality, and it is consistent with what happened in the United States, UK, France, Australia, you name it. The bill also talks about strengthening the Chief of Defense Staff. With due respect, I was privileged to be a member of two reform committees for the armed forces. The issue of strengthening the Chief of Defense Staff office is a reality. We borrowed the Chief of Defense Staff either from the US or from the UK. But unfortunately, what we are observing here is not really what is obtained there. One of the striking features of the bill submitted by Honorable Joao is attempt to make CDS the principal operational commander of the armed forces. This aligns with international practice. In most advanced military, service chiefs organize, train, and equip, just like I said, but they do not command. Operational commanders, they are the ones that fight war. A chief of defense staff or equivalent, there may be other names for him, exercises strategic operational control, and this discussion is one of the most important lessons that we have to draw, and it was a subject hotly debated during the two reform committees in which I had the honor to serve, but a solution has not been found. The bill also recognizes cyber as a military domain. This is a reality. It proposes a creation of cyber defense command. This is strategically sound. Cyber warfare is now a recognized operational domain along the land, maritime, air, and space operations. Nigeria's current legal framework concerning the armed forces does not reflect this reality of cyber operations. The bill also recognizes intelligence integration. This is why we propose Defense Intelligence Command. The idea is sensible. Today, intelligence is dispersed across defense intelligence. The DIA, Army have their intelligence, Navy have their intelligence, Air Force have their intelligence, and then within the theaters, there are also intelligence operations. Having touched the areas where, in my humble opinion, I think the bill got it right, there are major problems. The bill's biggest mistake is the proposal he mentioned President to the Minister of Defense to CDS to unified commanders. This mirrors exactly what operates in the United States, superficially. However, the bill fails to distinguish between operational command, administrative command. This must be separated. Most modern militaries clearly distinguish operational command and administrative control. Who is in charge of training? Who is in charge of force generation? Who is in charge of force employment? Without these distinctions, we'll have command disputes along the line. There is also the second issue of Minister of Defense problem. Again, another issue that has been discussed in many committees which I've had the honor to debate. The truth is that right now, our Minister of Defense does not have any clearly defined roles. With due respect, anybody who has studied how the thing goes, and it is one of the most controversial aspects. The bill proposed insert minister directly into the operational plan, which should not be. Global best practice in the United States is that command flows from President to Secretary of Defense and then to combatant commanders. In the United Kingdom, political authority exists through Defense Secretary, the equivalent of our Minister of Defense, but operational command is exercised through military structure. This is one area that maybe the bill will have to look at. The Cyber Defense Command, while I recognize its importance, but I do not agree, or I share a different opinion that it should be a fourth service. That's in addition to Army, Navy, and Air Force. This is what I read in the bill. Effectively, Addis Cyber Command is good as a component of the armed forces, but I would advise caution. Most countries that I have studied, they do not create cyber forces as a separate service. So instead, they establish cyber commands or strategic commands or joint commands. So the proposed wording of cyber as a service in addition to Army, Navy, and Air Force, I think will not help us. He also spoke about Defense Intelligence Command. Now, Defense Intelligence Command may duplicate existing relationships. The committee, in my own opinion, should ask, are we going to replace the DIA? Or is it the DIA that is going to become a new command? Or are we going to have both DIA and then this intelligence command? I don't have the answers to those questions, but I think we need to clarify them in order to avoid duplication. For unified commands, while I accept the idea in general as what obtains in most of the countries we are copying while we train, the bill authorizes the creation of unified combatant command. Good, but it does not specify what this might be. Examples, are these commands going to be geographic? Maybe in the different zones, Northwest Command, Northeast Command, South Command, and so on and so forth? Or are they going to be functional? That is Special Operation Command, Cyber Command, Strategic Command, Joint Logistics Command. These are two ways of doing it. Either it be geographic or it be functional. The bill did not say. Other things I find, after talking about the strength and the weakness of the bill, there are things that are completely missing. For example, joint promotions. Officers should not reach rank without joint service experience. While we have problems, for example, the military is a very large organization. I am an Air Force officer by training. If along my training, along my service, I did not serve in an area, in a joint operation where there's Army and Navy, honestly, when I become CDS, I may have a problem. That is the truth. So we need to put that joint deployment as part of career progression of officer. Joint education, we have joint education maybe in Jaji, maybe in Defense College, but I think we should even have it as a mandatory requirement. Joint assignment, joint doctrine, joint planning, joint procurement, none of this appear in the bill. And if we are talking of jointness, it's not only in operation, it also the supporting and training, you have to have that jointness. What I would recommend humbly, Mr. Chairman, honorable members, I would recommend, just like the last officer spoke, that Honorable Ojuawo and Senator Adua work together to harmonize their Armed Forces Act. With due respect, I've also been involved tangentially with the work that the Senate is doing. And honestly, I think if we are going to amend the Armed Forces Act, it should not be done in piecemeal. If not, you will have a lot of problems. Again, we have a good example. The main document that has been said everywhere in the world is the Gold Resource Water Act. It is a joint, the ministry, a House of Representatives and the Senate. If they work together, they are all working the same thing. But I see some gaps and some problems that might crop up. On this note, I will stop here and yield the floor. I have a copy of this document which I may later submit as my memorandum. Thank you very much.
It's not clear. We need to understand why this change. Then on the expanded functions and responsibilities, our comment is that the national defense policy under the tripartite mandate of military policing and diplomatic functions has covered the underlying where they have this underlying explicitly including performance of customs and anti-banking. You want to add that? I think it's already. We think it is already existing in the defense policy. Inclusion of women, authorities, raising and maintenance of units, including women, provisions for their services and adaptation as specified by the President. Our comment on this is that if this addition envisages a full women-only combat units, then I think we need to look at it again, especially when we're talking about air combat units formed exclusively by women. On the Air Force Reserve, on the Reserve Force, the bill says establish a formal military reserve with regulations for pay, duties, all procedures and reflected in the Veterans Act. We observe that this is nothing in the Veterans Act talking about the reserve force. Maybe we're looking at another, but in this observation. Then the second comment is that it is not mentioned in the Act, but Part 21 on the Reservists and Pensions Act, Armed Forces Act, A20, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, adequately captures maintenance and management of the reserves. Therefore, what we're suggesting is that DHQ can now set up the mechanism for operationalizing and structuring the reserve force. And in addition, that will probably also give us the opportunity to include a national reserve, which is not is currently not existing. So it is not only the military reserve that we need a national reserve system. In the reserve, we have the armed forces, the normal reserve, that is for those reserves in the armed forces. Then we have the active reserve. Those reserves is the reserve that are the younger generation that will fight. Maximum 45 years. So this reserve will now constitute the active reserve, and then we have the special reserve. That is professional reserve. In some cases, in some countries, they look for professionals, cyber hackers, communication experts, cyber security experts, and so on, and bring them in from universities or so on part-time basis as we as reservists. So, practically, so if you have a national reserve, it means you have these three components. On the military council, the first council, it still says we create a military council chaired by president, including Minister of Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, and service chiefs. Council's role is administrative and logistical, and then quote unquote not operational. To emphasize in the bill, not operational. And our comment here is that we have two comments. One, the nomenclature of the military council is like both the AFN versus NFN, NNA. And also here we have a defense council. So you are now changing it to military council. Maybe some further explanation will be required. Now, restricting the military council's role to only administrative and logistical issues undermines the CDS's most important function of transmitting the president's political objectives and guidance to the military component. Because the CDS is the only member of the Defense Council. And so, if political decisions are taken at the National Security Council, now they come to the Defense Council, where the CDS picks the military mandate and then works on that, producing its CDS directive and all that, leading to what the campaign plans and so on. So, removing the operational aspect, they will deny the CDS of this. On the command structure, I think it's already mentioned by Shehu, so I don't. Information to the committee, and that we are put together in the Ministry of Defense. We are looking at all the proposed bills, and that the memorandum will be submitted to the committee very soon. Thank you very much.
And other members of the committee are present. I'm Major General S. Nicodemus. I and my colleagues from the Nigerian Army here present were here to represent the Nigerian Army as the Chief of Army Staff, who would have loved to be here due to the exigency of duty. The Nigerian Army received 9 bills, and the 2 being discussed are among them. The Nigerian Army has gone through all the bills, included all our thoughts. And accordingly, we have come out with 9 memoranda, which were submitted to the Secretariat and binded copies.
This one I go see office.
So, most of these issues mentioned are all contained in those respective memoranda. So, thank you, sir.
And House Committee. I also send my greeting to Ministers of Defense for bringing all these bills to come to stay as a class. Thank you very much, everyone. It is in the spirit of constructive engagement and commitment to the welfare of veterans that I respectfully address the proposed legislation seeking to change the nomenclature of Nigerian Legion to Veteran Federation. While the intention being the proposed may be novel, I submit that the price needs of Nigerian veterans today is not changing of names, but the strength, the positioning, empowerment of Nigerian Legion and such body establishment to cater for the welfare of the interest of the veterans. The name Nigerian Legion carries a rich history, heritage, international recognition. It is not merely a title, it's a symbol of service, sacrifice, comrades, and national duties across the world. The term Nigerian Legion has become the most widely recognized nomenclature for the organization, Organized Veteran Association. Please, I'm not going to take your time. Example, the Royal British Legion in the United Kingdom, the American Legion in the United States, the Royal Canadian Legion in Canada, the Return and Service Legion of Australia, which perform the functions of similar to a legion. These organizations have not found its necessary amount to the historical identity, rather than they strengthen their institution, expanded their programs, increase their relevance, and deepen their impact on the lives of veterans and society at large. The Nigerian Legion should follow the same path. Indeed, one of the major challenges confronting veterans advocates in Nigeria today is the proliferation of the numerous associations and groups, all claiming to represent interests of veterans. This multiplicity of bodies has unfortunately fragmented the veterans community, diluted its collective voice, weakening the bargaining power, and reducing the level of attention and support of veterans received from government and other stakeholders. A divided veteran constitutes speak with many voices and therefore command less influence than united and conceived one. Rather than creating another platform or introducing a new nomenclature that may further complicate representation, efforts should be directed towards consolidation of veterans under the umbrella of Nigerian Legion, which remain the legal recognition and national establishment institute for the veterans. The question before us, therefore, not there, what should we call the organization? But rather, how do we make the organization more effective in serving veterans? There are several areas in which the Nigerian Legion can be strengthened and transformed into a world-class veteran institution. First, the Legion should be empowered with strong welfare support mechanisms to address the issue of healthcare, housing, education, mental health, employment, and social reintegration of veterans and their families. Second, a comprehensive national veteran database should be developed and maintained to ensure effective plan, targeted intervention, and promote delivery of welfare services for the veterans. So, the Legion should be supported to establish suitable income-generating ventures, and veterans should support funds capable of reducing dependence on annual bills of emblem intervention. Further, structured partnership should be developed between the Legion, government agency, private sectors, organizations, development partners, and civil society groups to create employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for the veterans. The Legion should be equipped with modern digital platform and administrative system to improve efficiency, transparency, and communication and service delivery. Greater attention should be given to the family of deceased veterans through scholarship program, widow support schemes, healthcare initiative, and social protection measures. The example Royal British Legion particularly instructive. It is success that has been built, not changing its name, but expanding its capacity to provide welfare services, advocacy, rehabilitation support, remembrance activities, fundraising initiative, and community engagement program. This is the direction in which Nigerian Legion should evolve. Beyond welfare, a strengthened and unified Nigerian Legion can make significant contribution to national security. Nigeria possesses thousands of disciplined, experienced, and highly trained military veterans spread across the federation. We have almost over 15 million of veterans across the nation. Properly organized and coordinated, these invaluable human resources can contribute to meaningful to national security architecture throughout community-based intelligence gathering and early warning system, support for disaster management and emergency response operation, mentorship youth engagement program aimed at discouraging crime, cultism, violent extremism, and drug abuse, security awareness.
Can we just submit the memorandum?
And the Deputy National Coordinator of the Armed Members of Nigerian Armed Forces. I am the Secretary General of Coalition of Concerned Veterans and also the Director General of Military Veterans Family and Welfare Association, newly registered. So the Veterans Federation of Nigeria, as the bill is being called, has been a clamor since 2018. It was initially brought up by retired.
You know, we agree that you just summarize.
Yes, sir, in summary. I'm not reading, I'm summarizing. Just a thing. It was initiated by General Walani Saki, the then Chief of the Defense Staff, in 2018 and 2019. The essence of that was to harmonize the infiltration of veterans associations. Because as of that time we have 14 registered veterans associations. And he thought it wise that the best that can happen is to harmonize these veterans associations into one. So that there should be an umbrella that will coordinate and then coordinate the activities of veterans in Nigeria. So he called for a 3-day conference in 2018. All veteran associations and representatives were there for 3 days. In 2019, he did the same thing, called again, and we all went, and that was where the VFN was born. He said, international best practice is on Veterans Federation of Nigeria, not Legion. Legion is an obsolete body that does not exist anywhere. Where the Legion does exist, it exists as an association, not a government, National Assembly enacted body. It does exist as an association. It's only in Nigeria that Nigerian Legion has the backing of National Assembly. An act, a bill for an act was sent and established, and Legion was established. Across the world, Legion is just an association that exists within other associations, not a superior body. I want the House to take note of this. And also, sir, the model by Air Marshal, I heard when he said Legion would assist Legion and Veterans Federation. So, Legion, by the establishment itself, if you go through it is there. I don't have to go too far because we said I should summarize. But when General Walani brought it up, the discussion there was Veterans Federation of Nigeria will be established to repeal the Nigerian Legion Act, because Legion is obsolete and, like I said, it exists only as an association across the globe. And those that can be brought experts from Egypt,
America, and I think Tunisia. He brought experts from these countries to come and discuss for 3 days what the BFF is all about, how it operates across the globe, and why the need for repeal the Nigerian Legion Act. And I also want this house to also know that we don't have 15 million veterans in Nigeria. We have, by military pension board, we have 100,000 retired military veterans. That is what is in the record of military pension board, not 15 million. We don't have such numbers. And also, sir, I heard the chairman of Legion said there is infiltration of associations and that there is no organization and that it is not helping the system. I stand bold to say that the chairman of Nigerian Legion registered a female veterans association just about 2 years ago, before her appointment as the chairman of Nigerian Legion. So I'm surprised to have heard or hear now that infiltration of organization that is not helping. While you also have a registered organization, you are the convener, you are the chairman of the board of trustees of that organization, and it still exists up to tomorrow. It has a chairman of that body now. After being appointed as chairman of Legion, somebody is now the chairman, and she's here with her. So, sir, the whole point here is simple. Military veterans in Nigeria want to evolve the way it is being evolved across the globe. It is not about personality, it is not an issue of individualistic, it is about the veterans' welfare and well-being. We veterans are our family. And the essence why the CDS then, General Raleigh brought this up, was because the Legion was not functioning. It was just there redundantly, nobody is benefiting anything, you don't know anything. And even up to this moment, no veteran here will stand and say one simple thing that he will identify Nigerian Legion to have done to Nigerian veterans. And I challenge anybody here to come up and say what it has been done from whatever has been accrued in the name of, Armed Forces Remembrance Day and Emblem Cell. Hundreds of millions of naira are being pledged. No veteran knows where this money, when these monies are collected, who is collecting this money, what is the money being used for. No veteran can come up and say, so sir, we need an organized body that will be properly supervised, that will be properly handled, that will take proper care of veterans and our family, that will provide for housing, health, education, skills acquisition, and any other thing that any other Nigerian would require. We serve this nation meritoriously. We gave our life for this country. We and you are here because of what we did to protect this country. And our colleagues, just like the honorable speaker just said, our colleagues are there in the bush. They are being killed on a daily basis. After the service, whether dead or alive, they are still coming back to join this body of veterans. What is the provision for them? What has Nigerian Legion done to any dead soldier, or the wife of a dead soldier, or the child of a dead soldier? What skills have Nigerian Legion provided for the families and veterans and families? I would say that if you want to ratio it on range on 100%, possibly you could have 1%. 99% is zero. So the only thing required, sir, like I said, it is not about individuals. It is about the body of people, of humans around the world. We here do not want to make too much presentation. This is why I have only sheets, one sheet of paper. And this has everything that is required. We have a bill which we are willing to contribute for the debate or for your consideration. Which I'm sure have been, we've already distributed across, and the chairman of CCV, of course, also the chairman of the Prime Minister of Defense Ministerial Committee on Military Veterans for the President of the Commission of Nigeria, of course, and I'm also the chairman of the Ministry of Defense Veterans Welfare Committee. So I'm in both the veterans area and also in the Ministry of Defense side. Yes, sir. No, 2 minutes and finish. Because most of what I want to say has been said by Dr. Awal Abdullah, who happens to be the spokesman of our committee.
And we thank General Chairman to have started this.
Don't leave like.
VFM.
Don't be the thing. Let me like that.
The VFM
Me, I like
have
that
come
stuff.
alive. If not, if the region has been working very well, and different associations we have been formed. If not, if everything has been working very well. But unfortunately, hold on, Minister. What I want to say now is that there is a lot of bill in circulation.
Boys, not do it this way.
There is so many bills that have been in circulation from since 2019. The last review, which I participated with a lot of members here, and I'm going to submit the last review of the bill, the VFM bill, to the Committee on Defense for you to peruse, so that you will now be able to identify. This one was the last one of 30th January 2025. The one, and this is what the Veteran Commission wants. This is our own act. So we are going to present it for consideration by the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
These bills are very important, and we appreciate you sincerely. So, we are not to be the action. We are here to be harmonious under your guidance so that the right things will be done and our nation will move forward in a very good harmonious way, like the charity. The ranch bill should be very, very clear. I hope I will not offend the service personnel. The ranch should be business of the retirees. Those in the service have the business of fighting. So they have no reason to be anywhere in the ranch. Any service personnel should be, if it's involved in the ranch business, should be the one who is way out so that it will be kind of mentoring and preparation to improve in the settlement in Washington. Now, on the BFM bill side, let us, like somebody will find there, sit down and fashion it very well. We may not have another opportunity. Therefore, we should look at how best it is done and to be in line with world best practices. I know Dr. Shehu and Airbus Machine here have made their presentations. I believe those will be perfected and the air power method will give you a better document to work outside. On the health bill, I crave your indulgence to kindly take a look at the DHML. DHML has been established. Unfortunately, it is staff funded. And this is the organization that should take care of us and the other elderly people. Sir, the earliest group of cadets that joined the Nigerian Air Force in 1963, one of them celebrated his birthday, 84th birthday, General Abdisalam Abubakar. You are the beneficiaries of his good work in handing us democracy. Therefore, you should be able to work towards taking care of them and us as well. Today, there are only 19 of them alive, and more are coming. So, sir, kindly, as you look at these bills, consider these things that I have mentioned: ranch, VFM, and DHMF, that is the health bill. Empower DHMF very well. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very, very grateful.
I'm speaking for the Nigerian Legion. Exactly. Thank you, sir. The Legion has not been empowered. The Legion is not financed. The Legion only dwells on resources of launching of armed forces remembrance day, and that is how it ends. That the Legion is just 1,500 personnel is very inappropriate. Membership of the Nigerian Legion revolves around retired officers and soldiers of the Army, Navy, Air Force. As you retire from the active service, you cascade immediately to the Nigerian Legion. How can we say no? Overdue for another review to empower it more, to be more relevant to the Nigerian veteran. If the bill, VFN is approved, it's just a change of name. They should tell us what the VFN is bringing onto the table that is not already contained in the region. I advocate for empowerment.
Was we look at it and align our bill to international best practice.
Navy Air Force Association. Known as Ranao. Sir, I want to commend the House of Representatives through the Committee on Defense for convening this public hearing on Veteran Federation of Nigeria Bill, which is scheduled for today. Time is not on our side and is giving me limited time. However, we will make our position note and presentation, which, with your permission, we will submit. I'll just go straight to the prayer and summary. Ranao prayer is that Ranao Association said we should amend the Veteran Federation Bill to accord recognition to the Veterans Association and make the Veteran Federation coordinating and regulating body for Veterans Association rather than dealing directly with individual veterans. 2, amend the BPM bill to provide appropriate governing structure and lines of authority for the BF with individual veterans. 3, enforce Section 2, Subsection 3, Section 1, which seek to set up the position, the pension, and other welfare entitlement of veterans. In conclusion, since it's lengthy, the National President wishes to assure the House Committee on Defense, on behalf of all the members of the Federation and the Association and veterans, that we are in full support of the Veteran Federation Bill. Thank you very much, sir.
The veteran bill was not properly prepared. It was a rushed document which the senior officers, our very senior military officers, want to allocate power to themselves. They said the Director General of the Veteran Federation Act will be a Major General, a Director General, all senior officers. No role is given to other rank. And they are going to occupy the position from the federal to the state level. For instance, if you look at the Veteran Act bill they prepared, Section K there, they say somebody who is going to be the legal advisor is going to be a lawyer. Who is a lawyer? They didn't define lawyer as mentioned in Legal Particular Act. And we don't want this honorable house to approve that bill. Rather, what we want is Ministry of Veteran Affairs. If you go to Ministry of Defense, people who are doing the veteran work there are civilians. They are not veterans. And it's very unheard of that in the ministry, a civilian will be sitting on veteran work. In the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, they have Department of Veteran Affairs being manned by serving military officers. Veteran means somebody who has retired. If you are still serving, what are you doing in veteran affairs? So we want a Minister of Veteran Affairs where the veterans, the retired people will be in charge, not a serving or civilian personnel sitting on the We want a level playing ground. Whether the Nigerian Legion, whether the veteran should be done by everybody. If we want to contest election, let the senior officers come and contest election. Let them not be looking for appointments so that they will continue to rule us. We other rank have our wealth and service. That's what they are looking for. They are looking for veteran act where the senior military officers will continue to sit on top. Major General, Brigadier General, Colonels, they will be sitting on top. We want come and contest election in the local government to the federal.
I stand before you today to present the Armed Forces Act Amendment Bill 2024, a vital piece of legislation aimed at fostering inclusivity and gender equality within our esteemed armed forces. This bill is not just a legal framework, it is a commitment to ensuring that our military reflects the diversity of our nation and harness the full potential of all citizens. The proposed amendment to Section 3 and Section 7 of the Armed Forces Act, CAP 820 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, are designed to address the pressing need of increased female representation in our military by mandating a minimum of 15% representation of women in the enlistment, recruitment, and appointment of service personnel. Minimum means that is the minimum. It can be more. We are taking a significant step towards breaking down barriers that have taken significant steps towards breaking down barriers that have historically limited women's participation in the armed forces. We are talking about qualified women. We are not just saying we should put women there. Women with passion, capacity, capability, and those that have all it takes to serve the best interest of Nigerians. This bill also seeks to establish a comprehensive gender-responsive compliance program that will guide our armed forces in creating an environment where all personnel, regardless of gender, can thrive. This includes the provision of equitable training opportunities, appropriate accommodation, and logistical support tailored towards the needs of all service members. The establishment of a dedicated unit to monitor and maintain records related to gender-responsive compliance will ensure transparency and accountability in our efforts. By collecting data, we will not only track progress, but also identify areas of improvement, allowing us to adopt and adapt, enhance our strategies over time. This amendment is more than just a policy change. It is an acknowledgement of the invaluable contributions that women can add within our military. It is about building a stronger, more effective armed forces that can better serve and protect our nation. We know that our women are smart. And of course, in terms of cultural engagement, intelligence gathering, our women can play a very vital role. We need diverse perspectives, not just majority of men. We need the women to bring in their own gender lens as well. We need quick thinking, smart leaders. If you are talking about specialized media, medical care, we need our women in this regard. Cyber warfare technology. This area is not about strength. It's about needing sharp brains and not physical strength. Finally, I want to urge our members of this esteemed assembly to support this bill. Together, let us take a decisive step towards inclusivity, quality representation, equality in our armed forces, ensuring that they are truly representing all the diverse society that we serve. Thank you all very much for coming. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Participants and other discussants, I am Brigadier General MS Adamu, a commander in the Nigerian Army Women Command. With me is the commanding officer, 1 Women Battalion, Jiria Abuja. At the same time, the Nigerian Army also has another Women Battalion, which is located in the southeast, Abakaliki, precisely. Not to bore this house, with what Honorable Khalifa earlier mentioned. First, I want to thank you for the motion, but I want to state that the position of the Nigerian Army as regards the motion moved by Honorable Khalifa is already contained in the communique area presented by our most senior officer, Major General Nicodemus. We thank you and we appreciate you. And I want to tell you that the Nigerian Army is well poised for gender mainstreaming and inclusivity. As we are all aware, that even in terms of operation, we have our female soldiers along Kaduna Abuja Highway. We have our female personnel also involved in the operation enduring peace in Plateau State. We have our female personnel also involved in Operation Udoka in the southeast. We have our female personnel. All these are active involvement for the first time under the leadership of our Minister of Army Staff, Lieutenant General White Shire, Nigerian Army Major, who was approved the development of female personnel from my command for a foreign peace support operation in the Republic of the Benin. They are still there and they are performing their duties, and we have others that are still doing that. I believe no female is left unattended. Thank you and God bless.
What do you I said I was they get to say hi to.
My bill, which is on the establishment of Nigerian Army College of Education, without any doubt, channels are the Army College of Education has been existing for more than 50 years.
I know that one.
Without getting back. So we're not here to warn you, but to seek the support of the committee and my honorable members so that we can give it quick hearing and approval because it's already existing college of education. Thank you very much.
Was the challenges that are facing the armed forces. Recently, I've also heard from the Minister of Defense talking that the armed forces do not have enough equipment, they do not have enough men. Now, when you look at the issue of the army establishing a college of education, I would like the committee to really ask, is this really a priority for the armed forces? How it is going to contribute to the current security challenges we are facing and the challenges that are facing the armed forces? I did a small research to find that currently in Nigeria, we already have 36 colleges of education. Apart from some state colleges of education, apart from universities of education. And when you say education, for the military, what is it? Both the Army, Navy, and Air Force, they have an education section. What do? We train teachers for our children, for children of officers and non-commissioned officers. We have to ask, this proliferation of 36 colleges of education and this university of education, is there any specialist education that teachers in military institutions need? So much so that they need their own college of education? The honest answer would be no. So honest, if really the issue is containing security and what is coming our armed forces, with respect, I would advise that the House steps down this bill, unless the Army is able to produce. In fact, how many teachers do they teach here that they need a college of education? How many teachers, even if you combine the whole armed forces, how many teachers do they need that they need a college of education? With due respect, sir, I will stop that. I have an elaborate paper that I will present on that. Thank you very much.
Sir, I'm here to make a justification for the bill to establish Nigerian Army College of Education. However, I will not speak much because the Army has already submitted a paper on this. But I just want to clear one thing from the last speaker. I think he's coming from a position that the school is non-existent. The school has been in existence since 1970, and what we are just looking for is the legislation to support the good job the government has been doing in this area. It's not a new request, and the school has facilities. Federal Ministry of Education recognizes us, and all our courses are accredited. We participate in everything. Nigerian College of Education are being presently are supposed to be in the National Commission for Colleges of Education for a meeting in respect to this new admission policy. So we are fully recognized, but what we just need is a legislation to support what we are doing. Thank you, sir.
There are little ground. In the first place, I am dedicated to the YG Army, the co-commander of the Nigerian Army Education Committee. I will find time after this. That memo is about to present. I'm very sure it's going to be in support of this bill. And there's just little ground. I'm sure by the time I express this thing, you will understand me. Thank you very much.
Colleges of Education. The Commission is in support of the establishment of the Army College of Education.
It says there is support from the bill.
Yes, NCC. And the college has existed for long. Last acquisition we did in 2020, all their courses are approved by colleges of education. Like the colleges of education. And the regulatory teacher education supervise NCE awarded institutions. And the Army College of Education, they just said that the college has existed Army School of Education under the Education Directorate and military headquarters. By now, they want to elect instrument to be a full-fledged college of education. So the Commission is in support of the college. Thank you, sir.
The bill likely includes provision for administration, funding, management, and oversight of the scheme, as well as collaboration with relevant ministries, agencies, and states. In most parts of Nigeria, they have areas, in some parts of Nigeria, they have areas that are ungovernable. By allowing the structured armed forces presence, those small spaces that are ungovernable can become areas for economic viability. The analysis of the viability of this scheme, utilization of idle land and resources, structured management, that is the military discipline and organization, will ensure efficient management and minimize wastage of mismanagement, often in the public sector and social projects. Security, while the ranches operate by the armed forces with benefit from enhanced security, reducing risk of death, paralysis, or permanent damage. In conclusion, the armed forces of the ranches are the most promising for enhancing security and diversification in Nigeria. Its success will depend on clear boundaries between military and commercial forces, strong management, and integration with national and global forces. If implemented with this consideration, it can serve as a model for military public sector involvement with social and so from means.
Forces ranching scheme bill. I will say, while food security is a serious national concern, agricultural production and national food security are not the core constitutional mandate of the armed forces of Nigeria. The core mandate of the armed forces of Nigeria, which I have the honor to serve, is to protect the country and nationality. They are trying very well, but these are trying times for them. We continue to advocate for even more resources to increase their capacity to be able to fulfill that job. That being the case, I don't think this is the time for them to go into side issues. Nigeria's current food security is not primarily caused by lack of military farms or lack of military ranches. It is largely linked to the fact that farmers in Zamfara, in Katsina, are not able to go to farm because they are afraid of bandits. So the contribution, the concrete contribution that the Nigerian armed forces are going to give to food security is to secure the land so that our farmers can go and be able to save their lives. So what I am saying in essence, however, this debate, I'm happy actually for this debate because all these bills, they are related. If we go back to the bill on veterans, or let me say, what is the other one? Legion, so that they will not say I'm for one side or the other. Sir, if you look at that bill, if we are looking for Nigerian military to have farms, I think the management of that farms should go to the region if we have it, or the veterans affairs if we have it. If you put it neatly there, you will find that the idea of engaging retired personnel will be there. If it is food security, will be there. That is one alternative, sir. But right now, everybody, even the taxi driver in Abuja, knows we don't have enough armed forces. We don't have enough soldiers in the northeast. So where are you going to get people to come and be farming? Which officer do you have as a reserve that you go and be farming? So honestly, after we are going to the farming should go to that region, or that veteran affairs, whatever we decide to form. I would also like to say that another alternative is that if the issue is to have food security within the military, military itself, why not have farms within barracks? Instead of having a large enterprise, I must caution here, sir. I'm talking again like I said responsibly as a Nigerian citizen, as someone who has served this country. I'm calling from the National Assembly. They should carefully look at this issue of the military gradually going into business. It is not good for the military. Thank you very much, sir.
We had a National Security Conference which just want to leave there to come and join this gathering. It's not out of suspect of national security. I want to confirm if the Honorable Chairman have our earlier submitted copies of the.
Yeah, that's what we want to summarize.
Okay, sir. All right.
Your request.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. The National Defense College was established earlier as National War College to train operational level officers of the armed forces and deputy directors of ministry, departments and agencies of government, in addition to foreign senior military officers or senior of rank of colonel for their responsibilities as brigadier general when they are actually promoted. However, with the creation of the National War College, which it trains operational commanders, there was need to upgrade the National War College to National Defense College. At this level, it trains, prepare the senior officers for starting level appointment as Brigadier General. It can operate as principal staff officers, as service headquarters, and also as advisors of Ministers of Defense in that regard. So that was necessitated the repeal of the National War College Act into National Defense College Act. And the specific areas are the governing board. You now have the governing council rather than the governing board in section 1 sub 4. Also, we have the creation of the college academic committee, which will now approve the academic postgraduate certificates and degrees that will be awarded. Also, to permit the National Defense College now to award postgraduate degree, because in professional military education, the level of professional education provided is improved. Professional and postgraduate certificate, so also is also contained in the act, in the bill, rather. Then we have the Center for Strategic Research and Studies, which is the research arm of the college. it also serves as a think tank for defense and security agencies. Then also, finally, to repeal the National War College Act to National Defense College Act. Lastly, we also, because of the postgraduate degree awarding status right now, the creation of certain offices, including the office of registrar and the office of examination control. All these are stated in the Memoranda, and also they cover the main areas of the act that we need to change to become the National Defense College Act. All in all, the essence is that if we continue with the National War College Act, it is no longer appropriate for the status of the National Defense College that we are requesting. And that's why we thought it wise to come and make a presentation. Thank you.
Do you teach drawings, doctrine, in NGC?
Yes, it's not as a major problem. It's part of the what we call the higher level defense course. We're in 9 now, which we're going to complete by July. Inside it, we have lectures. We invite the directors from Warfare Center to deliver lecture.
So do you think there's a need to set up the Warfare Warfare Center? Do you think there's a need for the parliament to set up a separate agency that tackle drawings, doctrine?
Yes, the job warfare center the job is bigger than what the defense college is just a model where we teach only generals on the importance of joint doctrine, implication, and also the exercise, we try to exercise it. The job warfare center is bigger, bigger thing than the only doctrine.
Which you can handle.
Sir?
Which you can handle. You think it's separate for you?
No, it's in the somebody to handle.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.